There we go. Sorry, brother.
It's all good. And so, yeah,
you get on the treadmill every day like everybody else.
If you and I get on that treadmill at the same time, you know who's getting off first? You are. You know, it's like, man, like I was up working until midnight last night. We're like, I have a lot of exciting projects going on, but you know, I'm also taking a hit. I lost a team this morning. I woke up to some bad news. I lost a team in New York, moving over here, but I'm onboarding 2 more teams, right? And so you know, people think that I don't take losses. I have really good retention, at least with my front line, and you know, the duplication running the building and empire systems, and you know how we've been building, you know, traditional teams and what we're doing with a modern team. But what a lot of people don't know that separate the good from the great is the people that deal with these days that I'm in right now. Like, because I'm having one of those days. I'm being honest with you guys. I'm being vulnerable, right? And so,
I love it.
And so I had to take action back to back to back. And get this is a day I'm running a mastermind for my group of 2,500 agents. The top, you know, I kind of copy Brent Gove. Like if you guys caught wind of like the top 1%, or let me move my camera a little bit. The, you know, top 1% club that he was doing, building into build, and you know, EXPCon, I you know, ripped him off, you know, rip R&D, right? Rip off and duplicate. With the 2% club. And so as we got bigger, you know, I've lost the connection with some of my people. Obviously, this morning's even like one of them. He's a veteran. He don't need a lot of attention. He's not really like building big revenue share, but he was growing, you know what I mean? And so even before I got the news this morning, it's like, as you get growing, how do you keep your group small? How do you keep these connections? Like what makes you great, right? And so I've been shadowing. I've known Brent for like 8 years or something like that, but I've really got to know him over the last 4 years. But it's not so much what Brent tells me, it's what I watch that guy do. Like he is a machine. It's like, I used to think, man, Brent is fake. Like he's no way he can manifest this stuff every day, right? But that's the belief system that he has. And like the group I was talking to last night, like you have to change your belief system, right? You have to change your environment. You have to change the people that you're around. And me being around Brent, I've picked up nuggets without him even knowing it, more so than when he's on stage, put it that way. And so then, you know, every year I'm having to make changes, you know, in my group. And when I talk about belief, guys, I don't want you guys hopping on here like, yeah, I've done a lot of great things over my 12 years in real estate, but I came from poverty. I came from, you know, a drunk and drug-riddled family. I'm the first person to graduate high school, you know, and it's like, yeah, I get to do a lot of speaking, but it's not because of my grammar or any of that. It's my passion, really, and the results that we get at the end of the day. And I'm not smarter than any one of you guys. And so I don't want it to come off that way, you know, but I will tell you, this is a beautiful thing about EXP. There was a lot of banter in the alpha group yesterday and, you know, going back and forth about our competition and making changes. And it's like, I don't care what any of them do, because if I was an independent, I'd still be winning. 12 years ago, I was making $300 a week in real estate, setting appointments as an ISA. My first house I ever sold was a $25,000 house when I got my license and become an agent. And if you guys know Mike Gerbic, the dude is wonderful. And he had to waive the transaction fee just so I could make $100. Right. But I kept that enthusiasm. And then I sold 24 houses my first year. Right. And then went on to be a top agent in the brokerage, then became a team leader. You know, took him from, he plateaued about 350 units before I came in and built the call center. I worked in like MCI. I'm 40. If you guys remember, local and long distance used to be 2 different bills. Who remembers that? Like you used to get like, right. So I had some call center experience, and that was when IDX feeds were just coming out. And so we kind of got ahead of the call center stuff, and we went from like 388 closings to 688 to 853 to 953 and start selling over 1,000 houses a year. Get this, with only 20 agents back in 2013, 2014. Wow. So, you know, and it's my second year in real estate, and I'm getting all these accolades. I'm speaking, doing podcasts, speaking at Boomtown, doing different things. And I had a lot of people approaching me, offering me big money. And this is what I talked about with a group yesterday. It's never about the money to me. It's always about the process and the person that, you know, I'm becoming. And, you know, Brent and Michael Valdez and Gene and a handful of them come and spoke at the build event to our mastermind. If you guys don't know Jeff Willems, he's my sponsor. Great guy, by the way. And he hit 5,000 agents and I hit 2,500 agents. And it's like, when you look at like what you're modeling and the people that you're around, it's like, yeah, I can judge it and I could look at it, but I didn't start growing until Brent called me out one day. I was in the hot tub and I got 90 agents in 90 days when by the time I moved over to EXP. And, I'll kind of step back and, finish the independent story. But Brent was like, dude, you were so talented, man. And you could be doing so much better if you just dropped your ego. And I've had to drop my ego and shed my ego many different times. And turning 40, I know I'm in one now with, just learning to become a better person, learning what I don't know to get 5,000 people like Jeff. Right. And so, Jeff, Brent was like, and Gary's going to hop on here and show you the new systems that we're running. But Brent was like, just follow the system. I said, what's the system, Brent? And I'm like, from 2012 to 2017, we were ranked 9th to 12th in the nation in the team category in the Wall Street Journal. We were used to doing everything ourselves and making things complex, right? And he told me the system, which I already had 90 agents in 90 days. I said, dude, that's cheesy. It's like, what happened to what, I just did on stage and how you introduced me? He's like, I don't care about that. And it's the first time I ever seen Brent be real. And I looked at him, I was like, are you for real? And he's like, yeah, I'm for real. And I was like, oh crap. I said, all right. So it kind of made me stand up a little bit. And I said, what do you want me to do, Brent? So follow the system. Gave it to me again. I said, all right, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna follow it. And if it don't work and I don't have the same growth rate, I'm going back to doing what I was doing. And you know what? I started growing by 7 to 10% profitability and agent count every single month going into my 4th year. I'm a spreadsheets guy. I'm a numbers guy, built call centers, data management. So you can just imagine that stuff and all that. And so I never looked back from following the system. And when I look at what Mike Gerbic did for me, when people were bringing me money and offering me a bunch of stuff, Mike just said, stay with me. Don't take the money. He's like, I know you came from nothing, but you have like 80,000 is a lot. At that time in my life, like 29 years old or something like that. And I was like, you're right. I started selling insurance at 22, like buying clothes at the Salvation Army, no AC, rolling around, like dropping cards off with businesses, trying to get some 22-year-old. And I'm already short and look young, right? Like, hey, can I manage your health insurance? Like, hell no, get out of here, kid, right? And no real education, just ignorance on fire, right? And so I trusted
ignorance on fire.
I trusted Mike Gerbic, just like I trusted Brent. I made a post and I'll show you guys the picture in a minute. I saw it yesterday and it like tugged on my heart a little bit. I saw the very first closing in the dashboard that we had ever done. And I thought that I made the hugest mistake ever. It was $50. And I'm like, I spent $385,000 to be with this company. I bought myself out of my equity piece. I can't work in Kansas and Missouri for a couple of years. It's like Jeff, Brent, Gene, and Rob Flick are the best salespeople in the world. I was like, I'm doomed. And then I said, or I've hit the jackpot and I just have to have faith and I have to keep my activities high and strengthen my belief and follow my upline's lead. And so I was getting success. And then that kind of I had one of them aha moments again with Brent in the hot tub. Right. And then my 4th check was over $10,000. and then a picture I'll show you here in a minute, compared to it 3 years later, I saw it hit 100 grand for the first time. Now, some people might think showing up to these masterminds, oh, I got to shut my business down. I got to get on a plane and say, oh, like, what am I really going to learn? You're going to learn a lot because I've learned a lot by just watching people at these events, overhearing conversations. I give what I can, but I also extract what I can as well. Because it's just totally different. I don't see anyone building big modern teams like Kyle Whissel, Daniel Beard, Randy, you name it, who's who that's doing it. I just don't never see them. You know what I mean? And so it's like, I would like to see you guys up your conviction, up your belief system, and then, take action. But more importantly, I had to humble myself, even when Mike's staying with him. And then, Mike turned his brokerage over to me in 2012. I don't even working in real estate. 2.5 years, I took over the #1 brokerage in Kansas and the 40th team in the nation. The broker walked out the door and 2 other top agents walked out the door. 300 units walked out the door. I said, oh crap, I should not be in this position.
Wow.
I said, what is Mike doing? Mike said, look, Adam, he said, I'm never going to step on your toes, and whatever decisions you make, I'm not going to second guess you. You're going to live with them consequences. Like, here's what a P&L looks like. You kind of know it, right? And And then he met me on the money weekly, and I had to figure it out. But we grew by 25% because I didn't make it about the money. I made it about the people. I made it about the client, right? And then we obviously, from the numbers I gave you, we grew. And then we started opening expansion offices, and Mike didn't want to do that. And I pushed him, let's do it. And so I had to push a great to be great. And so you guys have to push each other to be great. You need running mates, right? It's like, I need running mates. Like Gary's going to hop on here and show you guys some stuff, and he's going to run with me today. And, you know, when I need to catch my breath, because I'll be speaking, literally running stuff till probably 9 o'clock, you know, tonight. And so you need that running mate, and you need someone to you know, that you're sharpening your iron with. And that's what I like about the masterminds is everyone gives it everything they got, because like right now, yeah, like I feel a little beat down, right? But it's Thursday, but I'm also blessed because there's a lot of people that would like to be in my position and to be doing what I'm doing. And at one point in time, I prayed for what I had, right? And we grow these businesses by solving problems. And so this is just another problem, another constraint, and I have to get better to continuously grow, right? And so, and so that's how I look at it, right? And you know, when you show up to these events, and you things that you think are simple just start clicking. They just start clicking. Like I can remember when Randy came on, like I was in Puerto Rico. I might have had 700 agents at that time. Brent entered, I never knew him before. And Brent's like, hey, I want to introduce you to this guy and blah, blah, blah. I was like, cool. I was like, man, I like his energy, man. I was like, he's going to do great stuff. Before I turned around, he had like 700 people and I had 1,500 people. All I did, guys, I'm building like way different systems today that Gary's going to show you. I follow what I call building the empire systems by Brian Carruthers. It's essentially what Brent runs, you know, just like on steroids with events and education, you know, sprinkled in with some Tony Robbins. And so like leverage those people. So when I sold my equity piece, we were 11th in the nation. Okay. I also had a coaching company. Mike told me also not to start the coaching company because we had ISAs, right? And we were kicking out, get this, 100 back in 2013, 100 already pre-approved buyers and or what we would call a benchmark or a watermark for our listing appointments. Like that's what we were setting on our agents' calendars, not you consultations to get pre-approved or, you know, like they answered 4 questions or some live transfer. We was like from the Client Care Resource Center, and I can give you guys a script or maybe I uploaded Dan's stuff on YouTube. So there's a lot of other stuff over there that you guys can go over there and you guys are getting a different version today a little bit, but we're like, you guys will get some good stuff, you know, the middle end. But yeah, I really, cause I've been big on mindset this week. That's what I've been coaching on. I don't know if it's a blessing because that's what I've like, everybody's been asking me to speak about mindset. They're like, dude, like, I love your stuff. Your people are great. You're growing. And so like, I love that. Like I'm in the middle of like going back and rereading books with mindset and trying to re-spark something because who knew that I would need it? We all need it. Right. And so, you know, like have that faith when you show up there. It's like, don't judge, you know what I mean? Like just follow the system and take action towards it, because to get these 2,500 people, guys, 2,000, like all I did was tap root. If you guys know what that means, it's like, you know, hey, you make a list of your friends, your family. Like Dan presented to my group last week, like, and you know, he got like a bunch of, you know, likes and a lot of people went back and rewatched your stuff. Dan, you did an amazing job. And I'm like, man, I say that every week. What is wrong with you guys? Right.
But it's a different way.
Right. Different voice, different face is like more of Adam, but like other people in other groups, they're like, I might've seen him, I know of him or never heard of him, but I kind of like him. I'm not everybody's cup of coffee, but you know what I mean? And so being able to just switch it up, but fundamentally from a principle standpoint, we're all doing the same thing to at least get to 500, 1,000 agents. We all know someone that knows someone that trusts someone that trusts someone for the most part, unless you're a new agent, right? Because I said no to EXP for a year and a half, but I was trying to expand and do other things. And, you know, when I left, when I was 11th in the nation, I this coaching company that Gerbic told me not to start. And when I talk about faith and belief, here's, I'm a pivot. Who knows who Dirk Zeller is? So, all right. So, you know, man, the old guy on here. So, man, I am so blessed, man, to come from where I came from. Gerbic pumped a lot of money into me, man. He like, hey, Bob Corcoran for me, Tom Fair, like you name it. We like Gerbic had everybody coaching me. And so I can remember Dirk Zeller is kind of like a content guy. and he was coached by Zig Ziglar. And I had all these people want me to coach, but I just took over this brokerage. And Mike said, we're not a publishing company. We're not a coaching company. You're just trying to figure this out. You're in your third year. You've only personally never sold less than 60 houses, regardless of what you're getting from the group with systems and things like that. And he's like, your leadership needs to get a hell of a lot better. And just like, he's just pointing out my blind spots, right? But I'm just looking at the money. And I can remember there's snow on the ground, and we've been kind of kicking this idea back and around for a year. And I was at a Tony Robbins event, and I learned about experiential learning. I didn't want to go to a Tony Robbins event. I was kind of mad that I went there because I thought Mike was taking me to a real estate convention. And next thing I know, I'm jumping up and down, I'm rubbing shoulders. I'm like, what the heck does he got me into? And it's like, I'm 30 at that time. And it's like, this is a little foo-foo. And it's like, I don't know. I thought we were coming to a real estate conference and he's telling me to eat lettuce. It's like, what is going on? But then I'm watching all these businesses grow, and I got in the zone. I'm like, I'm not walking on fire. You know what I did? Walked on fire. But I opened my mind up. And once I slowed down and once I opened my mind up, I looked around and I was like, there's a lot of answers here that that I could extract from this group. And so then I figured out experiential learning. I went back, I told Mike, I said, we don't need to be a publishing company. We don't need to create all these courses and content and keep up with the gurus. I said, we're already doing what we're doing, making live calls. And we had, 3 different shifts with ISAs. And I said, the experiential learning, I watched this guy train and develop like engineers, like really smart people on tech, and getting them scaled up a hell of a lot faster than we were. We were like 100 times. And I said, this is what they're doing. And so it's like, I can have 1,000 people sit and listen to my best ISA called FSBOs, and then the next day expires. And because we were already doing that with our brokerage, except it was 2 agents at a time, with 3 agents maybe at a time. So next thing you know, I call Mike, and I had 10 people that had just recently reached out about coaching. He said, no, we're not ready yet. No. And he kicked it around for almost a year. This is where I have belief. Dirk Zeller taught me this. He said, do you believe you can do it? I said, yeah, but I've also, learned some lessons, the last couple of years in running this brokerage. And then he's like, do you see your wings? And I said, I don't see them. It's like, I can't see further than 20 feet with this, other than some experiential learning. And he's like, you're already doing it. And then he said, you know what, Zig Ziglar told me when I was going to start Champions coaching, or it was something he was struggling with doing. And then Zig told him, you're at the top of the building, right? You got a decision to make. You have enough information. You can become paralyzed and let some more time go by, or you can step into greatness and figure it out on the way down when you jump off. And so then Dirk went and jumped, and boom, he said his wings grew on the way down. So Dirk told me this on a Friday, snow, middle of winter. It's right for the holidays. So I went back like 2 months of people like that. Hey man, do you coach? I'd love to see what you're doing. It's like, man, we don't have any bandwidth or time. I figured it out in a day off of that one thing that Dirk told me, right? And it sounds so cliche and simple. I drove to the office, the West Side office. I called every single one of them. I said, do you have $6,000 right now? They're like, yeah. I said, you're in for 6 months. Boom. 10 people paid it. Every single one of them. I said, I am a closer. And so I was so pumped up. And so I called Gerbert, and he's like, hey man, what's up? I was like, hey, I'm just leaving the office. He's like, it's Saturday. Like, what are you doing up there? Snow and all this stuff. I said, hey, guess what? We started that coaching company. He's like, no, we didn't. Like, they have to get the documents. I said, I just collected 6,000 times 10, and I can do that again tomorrow. And it's like, I'm not trading a lot of time for money. And then we had 50, 60 ISAs training with our ISA department. And, we were open 12 hours a day. Then we had to build, some foundational training, tracking training, then advanced sales training onto it that came. And that thing ended up doing, $300,000, $400,000 a year organically. Just think if I never would have had faith. Just think if I would have listened to my leader at that time, right? I had to listen to another leader. And the same thing happened when I came to EXP, when I sold the coaching company, because I had to sell because I had a couple other partners that didn't want to come. Gerbert moved and retired to Puerto Rico before it was cool to go to Puerto Rico. And so I said, guys, we got to go to EXP. I said no for a year and a half. And Jeff Willems, I've been shadowing him for a couple months, and I just had a light bulb go off. And they're like, no, we are not going to EXP. We're 11th in the nation. We've been hovering inside, outside, top 10. What they didn't understand is I was using all of my principles and all of my energy to make money. And I didn't realize that if you guys go look at my pictures in the past, I was super overweight. I really have just recently got my drinking under control. I haven't drank in, I don't know, probably 270 days. It's like,
Congrats.
for me, I'm a radical person. Like you can see, like I stay fired up. Can you imagine me with some vodka in me? Right. So it's like, right. And so, one is too many and 20 is enough, not enough, but when I look at it though, and having that faith to sell the coaching company after I did what I did, and it was making the money, and I worked my way out of the field in my 3rd year. I was, going to Kansas City, and I was doing other stuff, but I have all these awards over here, and I had all this weight on me, and I had all this depression on me, and I had a 2-year-old son at that time, and I'd never really been in his life, and I didn't know it yet. And then, so I told these guys we're going to go to EXP. They fought me. I said, I'm selling my equity piece. I'm buying myself out. They said, you are crazy as hell. Everybody told me you're having a midlife crisis. Mike Gerbic called me and said, dude, you built that. We built that from 5 people up to 95 brick and mortar offices, multiple states, the call center station in America, in Wichita, Kansas. It's like, and the coaching company, he's like, dude, you lost your mind. I said, you haven't seen what I've seen at these events. I've been going to these events, and I think that there's something here. And so, and I was like, I need this tech. And it was all theory back then. Right. And so I went through the process with lawyers, and I can remember, this is when I knew EXP wasn't about one person or top down ran model. Gene has changed my life in 2 different ways. And he knows it because I've told him, but he didn't know it at the time. Tierney Jordan, I helped coach her to be the #1 team in the #1 market center over a 2-year process down in Dallas. The day I sold my equity piece, closed on it, and my partners were so disgruntled, and they've been with Mike since the beginning too. They didn't even give me $1 for the transaction so I could frame it, because I said this is going to be important one day. They're like, whatever, it ain't gonna be worth it, right? So, but I wish I had it, but she said, dude, you're having a midlife crisis. You don't lost your mind. I've looked at that company, and I said, I can't coach you no more. I said, Mark Benefield's taking over the coaching company. He was like the director of coaching. And I said, I can't even talk to people. I have a non-disclosure, non-compete with coaching clients and in Kansas and Missouri. And she's like, what's your game plan? I said, hey, I'm going to Puerto Vallarta in a week. Do you want to come? She's like, what are we going to do? I said, I don't know. I'm going to figure it out while I'm there. I said, I've been to one of these masterminds or whatever. And so I said, look, you can call me crazy, but anything, you'll get a vacation out of it. Just come shadow me. And I didn't know about inviting people or anything like that yet. I didn't have the game. So, and I called Brent and I said, hey, can I bring this person? He's like, absolutely. We'll get him a room, like made him feel special. Didn't even tell me what the system was. I was like, Brent's amazing, man. Just the way he makes people feel and how he treats people. And I'm very numbers driven and just very like logical with that. And I'm working on that, to slow that piece down. And I'm learning that. But Tierney and Walsh came, and I never asked them to join EXP. They just hung out and did their thing. Gene spent 4 hours on the beach with them one night. 4 hours, and I don't know what they're doing. I'm trying to figure it out like on my own with the little coconut and a stick in the sand. Like, what are we doing here, right? And we got back, and I said, thanks for coming. And she's like, it's interesting, blah blah blah. But I wasn't even thinking about really recruiting, because it's like I'm thinking more traditionally still, right? And what my game plan is out of state and resources and everything. She called me 1 week later, and she said, hey, I might be having a midlife crisis. I said, why? What's wrong? I said, I can't really be coaching you and helping you. I'll help you one time. She said, we're coming to EXP. I said, are you serious? She said, yeah. She said, we already told Smokey, the guy that runs the market center. He also started some ancillary services, and he was going to give us 250 grand cash flow off the title company without an investment, just to keep us a year. And they stepped out in the hallway, and her husband said, we're staying, and his name's Walsh. And he said, we're staying at KW, right? And she said, nope. She said, I want to go work with this guy because he's kind of always made right decisions. And I'm kind of in between that older generation and the younger generation when you look at who's doing what in real estate. And so she's like, if it don't work, we can come back, and 250 grand a year residually will be our lesson learned. And so those are the type of people I want to work with. It's not about the money. It's about a better future. It's, it's really, I wanted to be able to spend more time with my son. So we're in the same building, the same 9 months in, I'm fired up. My wife hits me with divorce papers. And she's like, Adam, I love you. You're a great guy, but you are never going to be able to slow down. She's like, you are so competitive, and just the way that you move, like we were middle school couple, like 7th grade, we kind of broke up, and then we got back together in our senior year. And then we lived together since 18. She went and graduated college, and I dropped out of college and, hopped in that 89 Buick, like, let's go Zig Ziglar Automobile University. Let's go prospect. Right.
Automobile University.
And I figured it out. I only made $11,000 that first year, but she stuck it out with me. And she's like, you've made a lot of money. You've done a lot of things. And she's like, I don't know what you have to prove anymore. I said, I have to get this EXP thing built. I said, just trust me. And I didn't know what it was going to look like other than what Rob and Pat Hayes, and like, there was 50 people in the room at Puerto Vallarta. It was what, 5,000 or whatever when we were in Dallas just a couple of weeks ago. It is easier to do this now than ever before. It's not saturated. It has more mind share. It has more value. It has more back end systems. I wish I actually was starting now. Like, because we went through a lot of hell. I posted that $55 check was my first revenue share check. And then when I said I lost my mind or whatever, compared to 3 years later, 100,000 residual income. But here's where I messed up. And these are certain things that I've watched from Gene and different principles, not from the stage, but being around them and getting invited into their home, or, hey, come sit on this bench with me, or, hey, can I give you some feedback, or whatever. And it's like, they're just so smart with their belief system and how they get it across to you. And so Gene, we got the deal done with Tierney and Walsh. And I'm going to tell you the second piece with him. Gerbic told me I made a huge mistake. And I felt like that company could run without me. That thing would run when I'm not around. What I failed to understand is without vision and leadership, people perish. And why I lost my team in New York today is because I failed to demonstrate leadership and to continuously set a bigger vision each year with him. And I'm not saying that I intentionally took it for granted. I let him not come to events because I'm like, oh, he's in New York. He don't do this. He's a vet. No, I should have took more action. Like, his life depends on it, because I know where he went. And you know what he's going to get over there? Not much. The same exact thing, because EXP is not making Randy successful. EXP is not making you guys successful. I hate to bust it to you. They're not. It's the people that you work with inside of this model, but this is the best financial model to plant your roots in. Okay. And yes, EXP does help, but I would be winning anywhere. However, when my wife filed those divorce papers, right, I said, this is it. I said, I'm taking 6 months off. I don't want to have anything to do with real estate. This is when I knew EXP. This is the defining moment with me with EXP. If I wasn't recruiting for my independent brokerage or training or on the road or whatever, things would just plateau or be like mediocrity. Like, they'd sag below that, really. And so my ego was, my EXP rev share was getting built because me, and I walked away with 190 agents. I had a guy that had a master's degree, was with me 7 years, way smarter than me. I create messes and he could keep me together. And so I told him, I don't want to take no revenue share calls. I don't want nothing. And I said, just protect me from the partners and what we have so it don't fall apart. It's going to fall apart. He did his best at protecting me. And you know what I did? I fell deeper into a depression and started drinking and disappeared damn near for 6 months. I didn't get on those Zooms. And Brent would call me. Jeff, I wouldn't answer my phone, anything. And everybody, and I was speaking at every single mastermind. I think at the time this happened, I spoke 3 times so far. Twice, because it was 9 months into it, and how like that lap went. And so I spoke twice, and Brent, and Jeff's like, and I had to be honest with Jeff. I said, Jeff, if I can't lead myself, how can I lead other people? It's like, because people account on my authenticity and my passion and my belief system. And if I don't believe, how are they going to believe? And it's like, I'm drunk at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. How the hell am I going to get on a call and try to convince somebody that it is in their best interest to partner with me or to get into this network with me? And so, it's probably lost, right? Month 4, Trent was like, dude, he's like, you are so disciplined and you are so great with discipline. You got to snap out of it. I said, all right, I sold all my rentals. I took care of my ex-wife. We co-parent, great, amazing. Raised our son 50-50, but I was carrying a lot of shame and guilt because I placed, priorities and put things, in the wrong place, in the wrong order. And so I had to undo, some of these principles that I had in business and start applying them in my personal life. And so Trent said, hey, just stop drinking in the morning. So I quit drinking in the morning. He's like, okay, now try to get to an afternoon. And I've never had a drinking problem. It's just like, it made me sick that like, there's no reason for us to get a divorce other than she don't believe in me anymore. Right. In terms of like that. And it's like my addictive personality is going to push. And I did not know that I would have what I have right now, at EXP. And I'm not saying it would have fixed it at all, because I needed to learn this lesson. And it sucks that I had to learn it this way. But my next relationships, relationship will be different. And so I got, I finally stopped drinking, and there's a picture I can show you guys, because I had to redo my Mac. And this is when I knew EXP was great. This is when I knew this thing was built for the agents. And this is when I believed, and my conviction was through the roof. Brent was like, all right, you're speaking in Arizona, come back. It's 6 months. I have been clean for, a good month at that time, not like straight clean, but I'm not waking up drinking and going and hanging out with my high school buddies and just trying to be like irresponsible. Right. And so I was getting my shit together because I had a great guy. And this is where I know like the Lord looks after you. Like when you hear what happens here in a minute. And so Trent got me on that stage, got my mindset right, and got me back up and going again. I never logged into my enterprise, anything. Didn't take calls. I took a few calls with partners like, are you okay? And I said, I'm fighting some mental health right now, going through a divorce. And so they gave me my space, but they didn't know it was deeper than that. And so I can remember I walked in that room or in that hotel, and the energy that I felt from all of those people that trusted me and believed in me, of why they moved their business over. And I said, I'm still fucking around because I let one human being down, even though that human being means so much to me, which is my ex-wife. But all of these people matter too. And so I didn't want to come, and I didn't think I was going to show up my best, and it re-energized me. And I got on stage, and I didn't know my number. I didn't look at the slide because everything was a blur to me. And I gave a great, even from that event, my stuff was still like the best like watch thing. And all I did was recite Eric Thomas, How Bad Do You Want It? And used Rob Flick, because he was sitting in the front row, as the guy that puts your head underwater and all that stuff. And so I'm a big Eric Thomas fan, and studying that stuff, but then when I got off stage and people started sending me pictures, somebody sent me this picture, and over my left shoulder, it said 300 and some like people. And I said, 300 and some agents. I called Trent. I said, Trent, can you log into Enterprise? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, how many agents are in Enterprise? And he said 300 and like whatever, 14 or whatever it was. I said, I've been gone for 6 months. I said, and you guys added 100 agents? Because I'm thinking old model. Like it took us 8-9 years to build up to 100 agents, right? And so, and then so he's like, yeah. I said, what have you been doing? I said, if you like, because he's straight operation guy, like nerd operation guy. It's like, and it's like he will sell, he'll get your systems in line. But I was like, have you been closing people? I was like, nobody really kind of knows what's going on. And they're like, Jeff kind of helped out, Brent helped out. I said, Brent helped out, Jeff took over. I'm like, people were willing to do that for me. And I was like, I don't have to do this on my own. But more importantly, the agents are incentivized to build something for themselves. They're showing up to events. They're studying. They actually can build something that's, that they can turn over to their son. Like my son is 7 years old versus, all these trophies and everything, even though I do it not for the really to turn anything over to him. I do it more so because of the experiences and the memories I want to create with him. And so, and so I said, I have an obligation, not to my ego and not to prove that I made the right decision by leaving Select Homes or selling my equity because I had a chip on my shoulder. I just have to be the best human being that I can be and actually serve these people that moved their business, like #1 teams, like Matt Smith. If you know him, he moved, he walked away from 200 listings from Century 21. And he called me from his basement and he said, you better know what the beep you're doing. I said, why? He said, we're in the basement and we had to leave the 200 signs behind. I said, why are you in the basement for the sales meeting? He said, because we're no longer with Century 21. We're coming with you. But he wanted to copy what we did. And he went from 200 closings to 800 in a couple of years. He didn't think he could build revenue share. He didn't think he was good enough. I said, Matt, you're a humble Midwest guy and you serve and you're like selling homes at the highest level. You need to go talk to John Cheplack. He'll rewire you up. And then now he coached with John Cheplack for 2 months. John Cheplack you're a coach, dude. You are bad. You just needed a backbone. You needed someone to believe in you. And now this guy gets paid $4,000 a month, worked his way out of his business, building revenue share. They're all actually going to Tahoe right now, or is it Tahoe, wherever they're going.
Yeah, Tahoe.
For that. And so it's like, Dirk Zeller changing my life, Mike Gerbic changing my life, Gene changing my life, Brent changing my life, all off not things from the front of the stage, but it's the proximity of getting around people and just people watching, like, and then picking up on stuff and then just being able to have side conversations. And I've learned a lot from, other lines and things like that. But when I step back and look at it, I dropped a bunch of weight, guys. Go look at some of my old pictures versus like what I even posted the other day. I have a 6-pack. I'm 40 years old. If you go see my old pictures, you would not recognize me at all. And I don't know where Gary's at, because I want to show you guys some pipeline stuff and like videos that we're doing and some other stuff. I can text him here in a minute because I'm about to wrap this up and I'll take some questions. But I lost all that weight and I made health a priority, because this is something else that I heard at Tony Robbins' event, but I didn't hear it till I went back like 6 years later again. You can have all the money in the world. You can have all the closings in the world. You can have all the accolades, everything, but it doesn't mean anything if you don't have your health and you don't have your family. And when I was young and building, I would have never thought in a million years that unless somebody cheated or something like crazy happened, you know what I mean? However, selling select homes was wearing on me, making that decision, drinking, not coming home till 2 a.m. every night. We got a newborn. She also graduated from college, working a corporate job. And I told her like, hey, just stay home, because, we had the money to do it. But she's she's Hispanic. She's the first person to graduate college in her family. And, being a prideful woman like that, is that contribution piece was big to her. It wasn't about the money. Right. And these are things that I didn't respect or understand until I had to, take a step back. And so, I focused on my health and I got my health under control. And then once I got my health under control, I take time off. And when I got back in, I jumped in 100%. But here's what happened. I think this is when I met this might've been shortly after I met you. I was in Puerto Rico and Trent got told that he had liver cancer. Dude never drank. I'm just coming off 6 months of drinking day and night. And this guy just helped me get my shit together and been with me 7 years. And he counts on me, right? His family did. And I said, no way. I said, I'm here for 5 more days. And I think it was COVID stuff had just started or something, or I can't remember. Maybe it was right before that. But I said, I'll be back. But in my mind, this is where I think we have time, but we really don't have time. We're not in control of time. And so I told myself, this is when you're young, man, you do these things. My wife will never leave. All these other things are important. And it's like, now I'm focusing on other stuff and it's coming faster and bigger, the stuff that I used to focus on. I got back in town and saw him get chemo for 1 day. And he's like, dude, we're going to kill it. I'd only been back from that speaking event in 1 month. He died the next day.
Shit.
Just think if he wouldn't have got me back on track. Would Adam Bailey be here speaking in front of you? Trent changed my life. Not just what he did operationally for me at Select Homes and managing the staff and the systems and all the boring stuff that, I yawn at, but, I can think it up, but, I don't want to sit there and do it or like you manage it. Right. And so, but just think like that had nothing to do with real estate. That changed my life. Think if I never would have made it to, where do we go in Arizona all the time out there in the desert?
Scottsdale or.
Just think if I never got to Scottsdale, I almost did not get on that plane. I was this close to not getting on that plane. The only reason I didn't get on that plane, Jeff is a high D, too direct, like blah, blah, blah. The reason I got on that plane is because I didn't want to let Brent down. And Brent, it just always told me to trust him. And me and Brent are kind of like, different personality profile types, but he never let me down yet, from the cheesy video in the hot tub to, a couple other little things too. And so I said, I'm going to show up. I'm not going to let Brent down. I'm going to work my way out of this. Trent believes in me. I was still focused inward, not outward, until I walked in that building. And then I was like, whoo, I bloomed. Right. But if Trent would have never done that for me, I probably wouldn't be here today. And so, I'm thankful for, people like that. And when I think about time, this is why rev share is important to me. I don't care if rev share was 25,000 first, right under $1 million is what I made last year off of it. My dad is tough as nails and in shape for 60 years old. And in January, he got COVID. And I had Chiefs games. I was actually in Puerto Rico for a corporate alpha event or whatever, making decisions, and I'm on winter break with my son up in the mountains skiing. And I kept getting back in town and visiting my dad. And when I'm in town, he would get better. And then every time I would leave to go out of town, he would get worse. And my sister was a COVID nurse in like contracts and like New York and Florida. And she was flying back, helping take care of him. And when he had his family and care in town, he was getting better. And I was like, oh, he's gonna get better. And I was at the Chiefs game, the AFC Championship game, and I got the news, and for whatever reason, because I wasn't like not drinking then, or not on a stint, I was like, I'm not gonna drink at this Chiefs game, the AFC Championship game. My friends and girlfriend, everybody's drinking. They're like, you're not gonna drink. I said, after what I've just went through with my divorce, and what I've just went through with Trent, and what I've just went through with like a lot of other things in my life, I said, I don't want to get the news that my dad had passed away if he ends up passing away while I'm drunk, because that's going to make me want to drink more. And so I make one good decision, and I believe in myself that I can make one good decision and one good action, and then stack another one on top of it. And I did that, and I'd be damned if and I was like, man, I can drink, I can get away with this and be fine. But then I had the good wolf and bad wolf, and I listened to the good wolf. And then I went to and then in that I went to the mastermind in actually Puerto Rico after that. Right. Or somewhere around in there. And at Puerto Rico at that mastermind on January 12th, whenever it was, my dad passed away January 31st. So I must have did quit drinking over those 2 weeks, but I quit drinking or made the commitment for a year in Puerto Rico off that one decision. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, one decision, one belief, one risk, showing up to one event, listening to one person, making one new friend could change their life, could change your life. And you just never know, guys. And so it's like, some people are like, what's the magic pill? And what's this? Like, I was challenging Brent. There is no magic pill. Just follow some simple steps and keep getting better as a human being, and keep the main thing the main thing. We sell a lot of houses. And you know who else wants to sell a lot of houses? Other agents that want to sell a lot of houses. So if you're selling a lot of houses, I would say they're going to be attracted to that.
Dude. I literally have not taken a breath in like 42 minutes. It's just amazing what you've dropped, both knowledge and experience and stuff. And I know you've got your buddy Gary on here. So just a couple quick things. I mean, wow. I mean, look, Adam, I mean, I love you, brother, but I got 2 pages of freaking notes, and I can't write fast enough, right?
Yeah.
I love what you're sharing. When you get big, how do you keep it small? That stood out to me in the beginning of it. Push to be great. Iron sharpens iron. Paralyzed, building your wings on the way down. Not drinking 270 days. Fuck, dude, that's legit. I'm proud of you. And you are a different man. I remember talking to you on the phone. Brent is amazing. He's like, hey, you got he's amazing. Adam Bailey's the bomb. You guys connect. And we connected, and immediately I'm like, all right, this guy's my brother. He's one of us. And I've always enjoyed watching you since then, man.
Here's what I learned from that, and I appreciate that. You can't live 2 different lives. And it don't mean that I'm never going to drink, because I got a lake house, I got buddies, boats. And I said, look, that's just where I'm at right now, and a point in my life till I've disciplined myself down. And I might not never drink ever in my life again. I don't know. And it's just from that one thing, and going through that experience and multiple experiences. And when I stop and look at like what is required of me, and Gene told me this, and I would write this down, because this is so important with building revenue share, because people just want to plug them into EXP and let them go. Gene told me this hiking through the rainforest my first year. I was like, I'm gonna have no overhead, no this, that, and whatever. That's fine. But Gene said, with great opportunity, there comes great responsibility. And if you don't step up to the responsibility, you won't have an organization a couple of years down the road. You'll build it on sand. And so it's like, okay, I understood that, because I, already been doing this before. But if you've never built a traditional team, you've never really built or ran a sales organization, and this is the American dream here. This is the golden ticket. Like, this is the great equalizer. However, I am getting better at my leadership. Corporate, I'm the 28th ranked. I hover in between 28 and 32nd ranked team builder, but I'm hidden. People are always like, who is Adam? I was out partying, I'm drinking, I'm celebrating. And so when I started to look at how Jay Kinder moves, and I've known Kinder for 12 years, and I've seen these people kind of grow up that's a little older than me, I said, shit, I'm no longer the kid, because they used to be like, oh, that's the kid. He gets big results, got a great work ethic, but he's crazy. You know what I mean? It's like, but then I look down at these 27-year-old kids, like in Canada, we have 300 agents there selling $1 million properties. We actually have a team there, that Gary runs and does things with me. Then they sell, traditionally. And it's like, they make a lot of money and they're young. And it's like, I'm setting the example for them. Like Brent set the example. It's like, yeah, we could go out and party, but it's like, if I meet Randy and I'm messed up and I'm not like intentional, like I love Brent, he stops and looks you in the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
He remembers little things and he makes you feel special. If you met me before coming and going, you probably didn't feel special unless you were partying all night with me. That's just a fact. And so you probably felt like, well, shit, like that he's not what I was thinking, or people get different experiences when you're intoxicated and different things. And then speaking with Dave Kennard, I have a great relationship with Dave. And I just told Dave, and, I don't tell Brent, because Brent hears, it's like, you just show me, you know what I mean? And I just told Dave, it's like, I'm speaking at EXPCon this year. It's like, I only took care of my people and I only did stuff for my people. And this is the 4th or 5th call for another line that I've done in the last, like, Gary, what is it, last week or whatever? If you didn't have a good relationship with me and there wasn't some bartering or as equal time, because I'd be asking myself, is this worth $500 an hour? Is this worth $500 an hour to me, to my organization? And it's like, how does that belief and principle fall in alignment with like where I'm trying to go? And so I have not turned one person down. I've took every single call, because we're in a shift. And I said, I'm giving people everything I got. Like Gary's going to show you what we've done. And so this is a bad day for me. I didn't feel like showing up today. I didn't want to put my pants on. I don't even want to keep going till 9 o'clock, because I could have got on here, spit the game, talked about the results, but it's what we do when we don't feel like doing it. And that consistency.
Amen. Dude,
Gary,
love that. I see Gary on here.
Yeah. I don't know how to follow that.
I know, right?
It's like, you should have had me do the intro, bro. You got me coming out, putting out the fire now. You just set me up, man.
Oh, man.
I almost feel like, and I'm being serious, because that's a great story. And, you and I, we're built from the same cloth. I know that you are inspirational, but, my opinion, this is just an opinion. I say we let the audience kind of ask you some more questions and keep that fire going, because I may put them asleep with some of the stuff, or we just set up another call. I mean,
and I'm happy to have you back on, Gary, and get into the tactical. Is that cool?
Yeah, I think so, because I don't want to put the fire out.
Because if we do that we could end up being 2 hours. But yeah, people need to see this, because this is just like with buyers and sellers.
Right.
It's like you need to also, you can build an organization following the rules that Randy followed and I followed. The thing is, when you get to 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, we have to play a different game. And so I was going to show you a sneak peek into that. Like the leaders have been hitting me up like, oh, I heard about CRM Grow. Yeah, that's fine. But what are you doing with it? Just like KV Core is great, but if you're not running traffic through it, or, having leads going there, and proper data management and honing your skills, making good, offers and putting people through the cash conversion cycles. But I guess since we got a question, I want you guys to fire off some questions. And since I got you here, I'll give you guys my closing formula then. And this has set a bunch of appointments for us. And this has made probably like me and others millions of dollars indirectly and indirectly, is this closing formula if you want to get in front of people. And just promise me that you'll use it ethically, because you're going to be able to get in front of people. But I'll take some questions first.
Thank you, Adam. And thanks for setting up a second call. I know they're going to want it, and I want it. It's going to help a lot of people. So we appreciate your contribution. And equally, if I could do anything for you, brother, anything, let us know.
I could have shored that story up, a lot quicker, but I didn't know Gary.
No. I think it was perfect, man. I think it was perfect. And listen, the beautiful part about this, beyond your contribution and helping others, is we know your story now. That's inspirational. You inspired me deeply, right? A lot of the things you said resonate. And I'm pretty significant in the company. I understand. I think I'm at a 10 in my belief of EXP. But you hear something that changes your perspective in an area that then stacks, like you said, stacking on one of another. And And it's just an increased awareness. And I really appreciate that today.
Yeah, I love it. So
let's take some questions and then we'll wrap up with you and the closing formula. Anybody have any questions?
Randy, I got one. Adam, so great to see you, my man. I love it. I love you, what you're doing on getting clean regarding alcohol and that commitment, and just, wow. So, because I was there before at some of the events with you and so on. So it's so amazing to see the commitment.
You can't tell me anything, especially when you're getting big results,
Yeah.
And so it had to come from within, or, self-destruction happens.
Yeah, I love it. Well, you had mentioned the closing formula. Did you share it? Did I miss it? Or
I was gonna take any other questions, but I'll give it to you now if you want it.
let's do it. Yeah.
So I want you guys, it's kind of like Google. And so I'm gonna have you write some words and then draw a couple big blank lines. And then, I learned this. I paid this guy a multi-million-dollar copywriting guy. And I learned this when I was selling insurance, because, Haas Pratt wasn't around, Jay Kinder, or any of them people when I was in real estate. So I had to like, where's an auto dialer? Who can help me write scripts? So I paid this guy, I don't know, it was like $10,000. And my first year in real estate, I only made 11. And so it's like, I put a lot on the credit card in that third year, for and this is the thing I took away from it. But, one of the things that I specialize in is, and then draw a big line. And you're gonna actually fill some words into that in a minute.
And if anybody's a great typer, if you could put this into chat, just like he's saying it. One of the things I specialize in. People only want to work with experts and people that specialize in very, niche targets, right? And so anyways, I appreciate you being on the call. If I can show you how to draw another big line, and then finish it off with, would that be worth a few minutes of your time to see how this could work for you and your family? One of the things that I specialize in is blah, 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 blah. If I could show you how to blah, 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 is that going to be worth a few minutes of your time to see how this could work for you? So I like the if I could, would you script that they teach at with Building an Empire. I love that. And you can use it because I'm giving you some stuff for buyers and sellers. You can use this for whatever. One of the things that I specialize in, or we specialize in, is working with first-time home buyers just like yourself. Just like yourself is important. Specialize and just like yourself. Anyways, if I could show you how to attempt to get a contract weighted in your favor, or even get you a home under contract the way the market's been, right? Look after your best interest with our worry-free, or with our home buyer advantage program. Would that be worth a few minutes of your time to jump on a Zoom with me to see how this program could work for you? What is a pro? I have not heard about that. Well, I got to get on another call, and you've been on the phone with them for a little bit, and I'm going to show you how everybody's writing down notes, even right now. And it's like, then you just put it back in your CRM. Most people don't actually do anything with the keywords that they wrote down. I'm gonna show you what to do with them. And so, hey, well, I can tell you one of the 9 benefits in the Home Buyer Advantage program. If you don't love that house within 6 months of purchasing it from us, you can turn around and sell it for free, through us. So we'll remove all the risk, the buyer remorse and all that stuff. There's about 8 or 9 other benefits inside of this package. And, it's going to take us about 40 minutes, as you could probably understand. It's 90% visual, so when could be a good time you and I could jump on a Zoom to go over this Home Buyer Advantage program. And then we're going to get agency through Zoom and all that stuff. And so I don't know if you guys have unique value propositions. Unique value propositions are important. We always hear about USPs and things like that, but we definitely have them value stacked. And I'd be more than willing to go through a few other ones, but I really just want to focus on this actual formula, because I've been practicing this formula and it sounds so simple, but you're going to have to hang it up somewhere and really practice it. And so I'm going to give you what you need to fill in the blanks with, and then we're going to kind of role play it a little bit. One of the things I specialize in is whatever keyword that they have already given you. You guys have heard about pleasure and pain, right? What are their goals? What constraints do they have? What timeframes? What problems? Like cleaning up credit score, saving up down payment.
meeting a lease agreement, like waiting for the kids to graduate and they downsize, going to Florida, whatever. We hear it all, right? Just looking, not in the market to buy a home. And I'll teach you the cash conversion cycle maybe on another time if I'm lucky enough to come back. But like when you're writing down these keywords, think about closing off their natural language. People want to try to read off scripts or just just close, right? And it's like, and then people that don't even close because they look at closing as a negative, it's because they're not using their natural language. People want to do business with people that sound like them, look like them, using words like them, actively listening to them, right? And then regurgitating them words back to them with an offer that's in alignment with their time frame and stuff like that. One of the things that I specialize in is helping agents really explode and expand their rev share. Anyways, if I could show you how to buy back some time where you could spend it with your children, buy you a lake house and take 6 months off, possibly this summer or next summer, like I've done, would you be open-minded to take a look at, what it would look like to, lock arms with me in a partnership, something like that. So the first part is like their natural language, their words, pain, pleasure, but operate, like from that sense. Then this is where, guys, if you guys nail this, and this is where the creativity piece comes in on the second line. John Cheplack talks about this all the time. What are they going to experience, or what are they going to net if they bite on your hook and take you up on your offer? And we have quad scripting, and so you know when to close and when not, like if you've been around long enough, right? And so if you understand like funnels and things like that, it's like a lot of people need to get in front of people, like Randy was saying. Like I loved hearing that when I first got on the call. It's like, you tell me you're going to move your business in December. Well, you're not even going to, I tell people you're not going to get going until February or March. I'm not even saying like January. It's really, you're going to, before you're running with us, like, cause we're running over here. We're not walking. It will be February or March, because I know you're excited right now about EXP and all this stuff, but let me set some expectations with you. There's going to be some onboarding problems. There's going to be some hiccups. There's going to be some unforeseeable things. And so like, let's just start working on them now and be in control of our own destination. So when you go live in December, or you want to start looking at houses 90 days from now, or whatever, keys in hand, like we're not rushed. Like you're not having to make last minute decisions, or you're frustrated because your timeline and deadline's ending and we're getting beat out or whatever, right? Or interest rates are bouncing around. And so getting people to actually feel comfortable by taking action into your domain to start working with you well in advance will actually make you a lot more money and save you a lot of headaches. And so it's like following that core logical next step, right? Like what is the next step, and breaking that down, to them. One of the things that I specialize in is working with sellers just like yourself in XYZ neighborhood, right? I mean, you might not have ever sold a house in that neighborhood, but hopefully you're competent enough to be a specialist in that neighborhood with comps, data, your marketing, all that stuff. Anyways, if we could show you how to get your home sold with our new worry-free listing program that you're actually going to need in this new market, would that be worth a few minutes of your time where I could, come out and go over all that stuff with you? Well, what's in it? It's value stacked with about 9 things. Pick one. You don't always give the same one. You give whatever you think is going to be most compelling to them, that they're going to want more information on. And then say, look, there's about 8 other things. When can I come out and go over all this stuff with you real quick? You know what I mean? And so, having programs like that, the 89-point marketing plan, most agents have a 3-point marketing plan. It's like, they go out, you guys agree upon price. You set it, or, you're going to pick the highest agent that's willing to set it the highest price. And then they're going to come back, upload it into MLS, and then they're just going to kick back with their feet on the desk. Right. It's like, that's most agents' marketing plan. We have an 89-point marketing plan. We'll go over all that with you. It's very detailed. I think you're going to be impressed, and it's like, okay, well, damn, yeah, I want to see this thing now, and so, I like to use like, like even like, well, they're like, what's in the 89-point? They kind of like even prob it, something like that. If you end up using that, it's like, it's like why Lopo uses this, and it's like, I love it. Have you ever like thought or seen a product or looked at a product and then you start seeing it everywhere? If you understand retargeting, most people don't understand retargeting. I know we talk about it a lot in the marketing world, but I don't use the word retargeting with them, just like we're getting them pre-approved, pre-qualified. I don't use the industry words. I use the words that what are they going to net? What are they going to experience off of that? And people will take action towards that, and so then it's like one of the things I specialize in is whatever the hell they're trying to accomplish, whatever they're trying to do. And so a lot of people are like, well, how do you get time? Because if you can figure out time frame and motivation, you have them eating out of your hand. And a lot of people are like, well, how do you figure out motivation? I learned this from Sean Kokoska, and I used to think it was cheesy when I heard it. And then I said, I'm like, Bob Corcoran was coaching me, and we had our call center. I lost 90 grand to get that thing off the ground. We about pulled the plug. That's a whole different story. It wasn't just like success. There was nobody around doing it. And I heard Sean Kokoska, if I had a magic wand, how soon would you like to sell your home? Or if I had a magic wand, how soon would you like to buy your home? And so I heard it a few weeks before, and I said, I'm gonna start using this. I was joking around on the phone, training. I started using it, and people start saying, I want to buy yesterday or in 2 months. And I'm like, I can't even pry this type of information out of them. And they kind of laugh a little bit like, what'd you say? Magic wand? I'd say this. It just lightens it, and they tell you. Then I had to figure this piece out because I didn't get this from Sean Kokoska. Time frame immediately afterwards, or you're going to go round and round with like a conversation. Great. What needs to happen next? And then they will tell you. So now you know their time frame and what needs to happen. And if you can't take care of packaging and offer to them off of any of their natural language or this formula off of that, hit me up. We'll do some training. And so, a lot of people that come to my coaching program or ISAs or agents, and Gary's working through this now, like they be 50-1. And this matters, guys, with agent attraction of buyers and sellers. 50, they got to talk to 50 people to get one appointment. And with this closing formula, and obviously with data management, some other things we taught, it's like we could get people in different lead sources versus expired and FSBOs are different than internet leads. All right, guys. So let's just talk internet leads. We had our call center on average every 12, given the day or month, 12 to 15 valid conversations. Whether they hung up on us at hello, we just confirmed that name matched that profile because that means our marketing's working. We were setting one qualified appointment, not appointment, but a qualified buyer appointment, getting them pre-approved and doing all of that stuff. And so this formula, once again, goes back to being cheesy, but hang that up where you could see it. And when you're on the phone, I tell my people to create pain boxes and put these keywords and pain or pleasure boxes. And it's kind of like if you went to Google and you type in a sentence, that sentence has a couple keywords in it that are very important to you. And if you didn't see those like keywords in the headline, in the link, on the actual landing page, what are you going to do? Back. And so if you go to close and you don't have any of their natural language or any of their keywords that they've been giving you in this closing formula, you know what they're going to do? Back. No, and so this is very important. And so, even with the coaching piece, and I'm blessed, with Gary, it's like, I used to charge anywhere from $1,000 to $2,500 for coaching. And a lot of people hit me up for coaching. Gerbic still coaches. A lot of other people still do. It's not about the money. I was like, I won't take your money, but I'll coach you for free. And they're like, what? And they're like, well, if I come to EXP, you're only going to make $2,800 on your like first level versus me just giving you $2,000 or $1,000 a month. And I said, I don't care about your money. And I don't care about that $2,800. Do you want to do what you are telling me you want to do? I can help you. I'm just going to ask you for one thing. What is that, Gary?
Open mind.
Keep an open mind, and I will give you everything.
Keep an open mind.
And once I feel like you're taking advantage of the situation and you don't have an open mind, not to EXP, but to partnering with me. Because I would do this if I probably wouldn't, because I'd still be thinking old model. And I wouldn't be around Brent thinking about law of reciprocity and contribution, a lot of other things I've learned from him. And so like I was in my 4th coaching meeting with this lady, and Gary just started to join our sessions. And I called Gary when I got off the phone with her. I said, I got her, dude. We're in rapport. Because she just asked me, she said, what do you want? Like, you're helping me so much and I'm seeing it. I just got out of the hospital because I've been working so much and I feel like God put you in my life and everything you're saying makes sense. She's selling 40 houses a year, good price range. And I said, I don't want anything. I want you to build some systems so you can get your health under control, because I didn't have my health under control. And it's like, you'll sell more houses, right? You get some of your time back. You don't have to be good or great, to get going in real estate. You just got to be available, but you've already proven that you're always available and you're always running and gunning. Yes, you can have someone else available in your organization if you build some systems for them and create some opportunities. Like I'm going to create opportunity for you. And then she told me when we were getting off that call, she's like, man, I've just never experienced anything like that. I kept thinking it was going to be a build up to something, right, that I couldn't see. And that is a big secret. And one of the other things I learned from Brent is I do things for others and I don't ask for anything in return. And the law of reciprocity has done me well. And it really has. You know, one of the things I've specialized is giving to others, serving others. Anyways, if I could show you guys how to do the same thing and it could explode your guys' revenue share, would that be worth a few minutes of your time to hop on next week's training?
I love it, brother, man. Hey, thank you so much. Should I get with you or Gary for the next thing? And set that up?
Gary, but did you guys see how I worked even in the closing?
You bought it at the end. It's like, okay, I even thought we were done and I'm ready to commit.
Just start practicing it. It will feel weird at first when you're doing it. Like one of the things I specialize in is, and it's like, it'll be weird, but promise me.
I see. Better. I love you, brother, man. Thank you for doing this today. I think it's been one of the best calls we've ever had. And we've had Gene, Brent, Mitch Ryback, Rich Tomasini, Kokoska. We've had a lot of people on here, man. This has been amazing.
Here's what I'll ask. I don't know if Dan's still on here, but here's what I asked of his group. If you can, go tag me on Facebook. Like, what was your one takeaway? What was an aha moment? And then I will talk your group up and I'll edify you back. Like, it was great seeing you on the call. You're running a good business because everybody's watching, man. And there's a lot of uncertainty out there right now. And we got to operate with conviction and belief. And I've talked a lot about that on this call. And so tag me and I'll edify 100%. You back. I just won't like it and say great and I will push back, you know, and other people watch it and then let me know how I can help. And Randy, tag me, and then I'll do the same for you. And then I love for you to come, speak to my group, because
100%, man. Anytime, man. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for your contribution and willingness. It means a lot. And, it does make an impact. It's leaving a mark. So thank you, brother. And I got 3 full pages of notes and I'm trying to,
send me the recording if you can.
100%. I'll make a mark and send it.
Hey, just tell Brent. So I'm to be like, hey, Adam's doing good work. Somebody needs to
don't worry.
Okay.
I will do that. We've been chatting from Rome. So I appreciate you, man. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Gary, for being here, and everybody else that stayed on the call.
If anybody needs anything from me, whatever, hit me up on Facebook. I'll be willing to help out, show you our unique value propositions, or we can show them to you when we get Gary back on. But friend me on Facebook. Look forward to connecting with other EXPers.
I love you, brother. Thank you, man. Thank you for being here. Rock and roll, everybody. Have a great day.
Yeah, thank you, Adam. Good to see you, bro.
Hey, you guys made my day a little bit better because I didn't want to get on this call.
Yeah, you started out low and you ended up high, man. That's what it's all about. We're here to lift.
It's kind of like when you don't want to make your calls, and it's like, and then when you get done making them,
and
when
you feel amazing when you make your calls.
You're like, man, I feel good. I made them calls.
I love it.
So I feel good. Thank you guys. I got something from this. Thank you.
I got something.
Later.
Right on.
Later.
Amen. See you, buddy.
Right on. Thank you, brother. You guys all have a good day. Appreciate you.